Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you may be worldwide. It's Stephen Sherba with Emotional Soul Healing, and I welcome you here to another guided healing meditation. So, if this interests you, today we're going to be dealing with the feeling of anger and the feelings underneath the feeling of anger. If it interests you, you're welcome to join along here. And if you're driving, or if you're you can either pull over, or if you're under the influence, or operating heavy machinery, please do not listen to this guided meditation. I'd like you to find yourself here into a comfortable position and simply uncrossing your hands and crossing your feet, closing your eyes and taking in 3 deep breaths. In your mind's eye, visualizing having a large silver plate. And on the silver plate, I'd like for you to empty out if it's any of the stress, any of the anxiety, any of the worry, whatever's coming up from either from today or from the last week or from the last month. Be kind with yourself. There's no judgment, there's no blame. And whatever's occupying your mind, you're welcome to bring out as many plates as required to empty out whatever you're holding on to. And whenever you're ready, watching these silver plates rising higher and higher into the vastness of the universe until you no longer see it. Imagine yourself here, walking through your garden, sensing and feeling the sun's warmth in your skin, and smelling the fragrance of the flowers and trees throughout your garden. And along your path through the garden, towards the edge of it, you're going to be walking up the set of stairs up to the door, guarding your own private island. In the doorway, there's a key. Unlocking this door, stepping into the island, closing the door behind you, locking it, and keeping the key with you. This is your home away from home, and no one is allowed here without your express permission or consent. This is a safe place here. I'd like you to invoke and invite in that younger self, that younger inner child, and invoking, inviting this inner child here, and giving this inner child here both a hug and a kiss. And as you gaze deep into the eyes of this inner child, behind those eyes, what do you see? If you gaze down deep enough inside that inner child, behind all those masks, what do you see? Is this inner child excited? Is there a smile on this inner child's face? Or is there a mask upon another mask there that's hiding with no judgment and no blame for whatever happened at a younger age? Whether it was dealing with judgment, frustration, tension, not being heard, not being seen, perhaps not being recognized. Or for the anger for whatever it may be. Not having a voice, not being seen, not being heard. Feeling all the pressure, either coming from the family, the culture, or the religion. I'd like you to give this inner child here both a hug and a kiss, and thank your inner child for being here. I'd like you to invoke and invite here from the light your master guide and guides. And whether you see them or not, it doesn't matter. Simply acknowledging and thanking your guides here from the light. Your master guide and guides are going to be showing you or flashing in front of your mind's eye the older experiences, the older movies that are running within the subconscious, or whatever needs to flash in front of your mind's eye, either as a vision, as an image. It can be as simple as a word or a feeling. I'd like for you and your inner child to make yourself comfortable here. And if you don't see anything, it's equally great. Just remain here in your silence. Enjoy your movie. I'll be back with you in just a moment. I'd like you to invoke and invite here with your healer guides from the light. You're going to be asking these guides here to assist you with cutting and unplugging any and all the files and all the feelings associated with the feeling of anger. So whatever that feeling that's coming up on the inside for the feeling of anger, because anger covers a lot of masks. It covers up a lot of things that are either deeply suppressed, not talked about, or deep down inside, having no way of dealing with it. And perhaps at one point picking up the habit of either smoking or drinking, or whatever else it is that one does to numb out whatever's felt deeper on the inside. So ask you guides here from the light for all the files and feelings associated with anger. And it's all stemming in back from the family, from the culture, and from the religion, from the entire collective environment of it, from all the masks worn throughout the inner child, throughout all the years, back from the initial trigger, the initial boiler point, whether it was perceived or experienced, known or unknown to you. And again, all the collective masks worn throughout all the years. Ask you guys to assist with having all those collective files and feelings collectively from one's past, present, and future self. Asking you guys to place all these files and feelings collectively into the field with peace, compassion, universal love and grace. Taking in a deep breath, please. Holding it. And with the purifying exhale, breathing it all out. For all the files and for all the feelings associated with the feeling of anger, you can ask yourself at some point, we all go through it. I went through it myself an extensive amount. And there's either something that's deep on the inside, either not being expressed, not being talked about, or physically being in one's life not being where they really intended with being, or if they're feeling stuck, especially if they're feeling, let's say at a younger age, feeling overly responsible or burdened with being completely over responsible, having no way out. If there's feelings of feeling, say, entrapment, whether it's entrapment either running a family business or being stuck in a family where there's no progress being made, or the anger or the feeling there that it's coming from a family that for whatever the upbringing was. If they're coming from a war-torn country, if they're coming in from religious views that deep down inside are what you see and what you hear and what you sense are not matching. For the files and feelings associated with anger, if they're coming from files where deep down inside, if there's no love within the family, or respectfully, and again there's no judgment and there's no blame. Let's say back, if you ask your inner child there, if your inner child's not happy and if the environment's not happy, where is it coming from? Is it coming from mom? Is it coming from dad? Or was it an inherited feeling? Or if it's coming from the environment, was there a form of abuse with this? Or dealing with tempers, dealing with rages, or dealing with domestic abuse? If it's dealing with the feeling there, let's say if one's in a family where the abuse is on a daily event, whether it's mentally and emotionally, and it's one thing being physically hit, it's quite another dealing with if the energy there, if it's mental and emotional, and then being stuck by it, especially from coming from somebody else's stuckness, or if somebody else is not willing to grow or learn from or evolve. And if one's stuck doing the same thing, doing the same patterns, and having the high ideals or high expectations with doing something else. And worse if they're able to push that onto somebody else. And then from that stuckness, it's like a never-ending cycle. It's a vicious cycle. So if this resonates here, if this energy, if you're feeling this, I'm going to ask you guides here from the light to assist you with having all these files and all these feelings, known or unknown to you. Everything back from the initial trigger, the initial boiler point, perceived or experienced, and all the collective masks worn throughout all the years of this, everything stemming back in from the inner child, from mom and dad, from within the family. And if there was anyone else within the family that instigated that feeling of anger, whether it's coming again from the family, the culture, and the religion, ask your guides here from the light to collectively assist you with having all these files and all these feelings, known or unknown to you, energetically placed into the field, energetically from your past, present, and future self, into the field with peace, compassion, universal love and grace. Taking in a deep breath, please. Holding it. And with a purifying exhale, breathing it all out. Let's say for any of the files or for any of the feelings that deep down inside, if one's living up to somebody else's high expectations or somebody else's idealistic views of what success is, and whatever that's deemed or labeled from, whether it's coming from the family, the society, the norm of what's defined as the norm. If it's the peer pressure, if it wasn't making the cut, if it wasn't making the grade, it was the fear, say at a younger age, dealing with report cards, or getting the top remarks, or getting the top accolades, or not making the cut, being on the team. If there's a feeling of, let's say, growing up, having that first job, and that first job the ideal job, or deep down inside, taking on anything and everything just to get either out of the house, being in the house, or looking a way out, depending on the environment there. And if the environment, let's say if it's non-conducive, meaning that whatever's happening there, and if there's a secret within the family of whatever happens in the family stays within the family, and no one's going to talk about it, no one's going to say anything about it. It's like the elephants in the room, whether it's dealing with the career, if it's a vocation, if it's attaining a dream or a lofty goal, and the pressure is like a pressure cooker on the inside. And I think Einstein had a saying there it's not just him, many others, that if one keeps doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, and if one's not willing to change, the outcome's not going to change. So if there's a conflict on the inside where there's like 1 foot attaining that dream, 1 foot attaining that goal, it's 1 foot attaining that whatever that dream perspective is, or that whatever that vision is, that deep down inside holding on to it and making it as a reality. And say coming in from the family where everything's completely upside down, or it's a mess, and there's no polite way of stating it. There's no judgment, there's no blame. For each and every one of us, we're all coming here for a different soul agreement, and that soul agreement can be stemming from an inherited feeling, and that anger can be coming in from, are they happy themselves? And if they're not happy, and if whatever happened, again, there's no judgment and there's no blame. For each and every one of us, when we volunteer coming here, we sign up for a soul agreement. And unfortunately, the moment when there's interference coming from the family, the culture, and the religion, usually at a younger age, between the ages of 5 to 9, if somebody says something, if there's a feeling felt on the inside, especially if whatever's going on, say within the family or later on, whether it's in the school ground, whether it's coming from the school, or in one's career, or in a relationship later on, and say relationships with this as well, if there's feelings of anger there, it's usually stemming right back from the soul agreements, back from mom and dad. So if there's feelings, let's say of feeling stuck, not willing to move forward, if there's any hesitant feelings of not being the change, or feeling stuck, or feeling more safe being in a rotten relationship or a tough relationship, as to say part of as a comfort zone, and let's say been in a relationship where one's choosing with up leveling, moving on with their life, and if they're stuck with somebody else that deep down inside they're not moving, they're not willing to be the change. And let's say if you're in that environment and deep down inside you're praying for a way out, and all you sense or feel is this anger, and it's an energy, you can cut the energy with a knife, for whatever it is. For whatever it is, that feeling, with how it made you feel, if it was losing, say, a loved one, or if there was in a situation from a younger age where if somebody wasn't handling their life properly, if they were drinking all the time, or dealing with, say, domestic abuse, mentally, emotionally. Let's say if it was as a boxing ring within the home or in the work environment, and everyone's aware of it but no one's talking about it, or one's got their own private business or their own private firm or large size company, and the stakes are there, and at all costs doing whatever it takes to make that next goal, or the next pay cut, or getting the next paycheck. And if the money's not there, what's the feeling there? Or if one has lofty goals and dreams and they're not attaining it, and then barfing out that frustration on everybody else. If there's any files or feelings underneath this feeling of anger, let's say if it's a feeling of desire, and that desire on the negative side of it is having all these lofty dreams and goals, and deep on the inside they're not living it themselves. Or if one's feeling stuck, being in a rut, or being in a job or in a position, or let's say for the single moms or the moms staying at home, if they're feeling that there's no way out, and it feels like that stuckness where they're just sitting inside of if it's a home, it's one thing. If it's an empty house, even if it's a mansion, if that feeling of a home is not there, it can be like a form of a prison. So it can literally be as a prison. And there's sometimes it's going to be a tough one to make the decision with, does one want to stay there or get out of it? For the feelings of anger, if one's doing one thing and let's say running around all the time on burnout, let's say 6 or 7 days a week, crashing on the couch or getting an hour or two of sleep here. And say if one's in a relationship and the other person, say, perhaps is not doing anything at all. If there's feelings that, again, there's no judgment, there's no blame with this. These are all life lessons that we all learn from it. Personally, I had to either learn, evolve, or grow, or be the change. And it was absolutely essential with this. The anger can also be something that, what's that resistance on the inside? What's that big resistance that we're either having a hard time letting go of, not letting go of, or deep down inside having such a massive grip on this thing that at some point we have to let it go? Because that resistance is going to either affect our health, affect our way of being, or it can shut us down at one point. So you can ask your guides here from the light to have all these files and all these feelings, everything coming back from the inner child, known or unknown to you, perceived or experienced back from the initial trigger, the initial boiler point, from all the collective masks worn throughout all the years of this. And you can ask your guides equally if there's any files or feelings stemming from any trauma, whether it was mental, emotional, or physical, even spiritually related. Ask you guys to assist you with having all these files and all these feelings coming back from the inner child, back from the family, the culture, and the religion. Ask you guys to assist you with having all these collective files and collective feelings energetically cut from your past, present, and future self, placed into the field with peace, compassion, universal love, and grace. Taking in a deep breath, please. Holding it. And with the purifying exhale, breathing it all out. I'd like you to assist you guys or ask you guides here. I'm going to be joining you with this here. And on the top of your crown with your inner child and with your guides here, there's going to be a small lotus bud on the top of your crown. You're going to be asked with being embodied with a pillar of white light coming from the universe. And asking with being embodied and filled in with this pillar of white light. As this white light touches the top of your crown, allowing this divine white light to channel down through your spine to the tips of your fingers, down to the bottom of your feet. Fill yourself in here with the white light. Keep embodying and filling yourself in here with the white light. Being completely showered with the white light here, and sending that white light outside of your etherical being, and radiating this white light out in all different directions throughout your home, and radiating this white light several kilometers and several miles away from your home. You're going to ask your guides to embody you with a pillar of universal love, universal joy, and universal peace, universal grace, and ask you guys to embody this positive energy and have it physically embodied into your physical being. Thanking the universe for the white light, giving your inner child here both a hug and a kiss, and thanking your inner child for being here. Thanking your guides here from the light, and saying goodbye to everyone here on your island. Walking back to the door, guarding your island, taking out your key and unlocking this door, stepping out from your island, closing the door behind you, locking it, and keeping the key with you. Walking back down the set of stairs, back out into your garden. And throughout your garden, picking up a flower or two. And whenever you're ready, opening your hands, or moving your hands and feet, opening your eyes,